Hello everybody, I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome back to part 5 of my Brazil campaign here in Hearts of Iron 4 The New Order. So this is the second time. I only got like a few seconds into trying to record this before, but there was some sort of thing going on where the music player was playing two songs at once. So I think I fixed it by just setting it to one station. I might, if I think I hear it again, I might kind of just pause it. Because before, like, I would pause the music and I would hear another track keep playing, but it was from one of the other stations. So hopefully that's the end of that. Whoa, did you guys hear that? Oh, there it is. What is that? That's a different song. Okay, weird. No, this is from a different game. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm not sure what's causing it. Fuck it. Let's just go. Let's just go. Alright, so we have a development edict available here. I don't know. Except I can't really do any of these because they cost me political power and I don't have any. Whatever. Even though it's available, it's not really available. Let's just keep moving. Alright, so we're meeting with Muller. It's the right thing to do, Senor Presidente. We need to settle this with the Reichskommissar police fleet and end up in a war with the Nazis off the bat. Yeah, that is like an elephant seal or something screaming. We're just gonna have to deal with that popping in and out. Muller accepts, is gonna greet a Brazilian representative. The Air Force plane's gassed up, ready to fly into the heart of darkness for you. There will be no entourage, no press, one aide in the air crew. You can have a bodyguard for the plane. We cannot guarantee a timely response in Central Africa. We have to come out ahead. Goodbye and good luck. Alright, so we're going to negotiate. What's this? Street cleaner. Samuel Weiner already regretted leaving his suit in the car before going down this trail in the damp Wandu River forest, hours from his dear Copacabana. Let's sneeze. Or maybe not. Ugh. The man called his house early in the morning, claiming to be the sole survivor of a group of homeless men that was gathered to be rehoused in a government program, but instead of being taken to a shelter, they were conducted to a clearing in the woods and executed by policemen. So they found 4 bodies, hands tied, gunshot wounds to their heads in a clearing. One of the murderers, called inspectors by the others, tortured the victims in front of those present like he was teaching his fellow jackal torture techniques. Freezed in place, the terror inspector, whose hand rested on his gun. He knew that the scene would have ended in a very different way had he not been there. Big story. Okay. So they're basically killing homeless men outside of the cities. See here. Alright, Madagascar just blew up. So the party's getting started here. That's the overture to the explosion in October, which is always fun. Where the fuck is that mean? Really is bothering me. We got units ready for deployment, technically. We still got a bit of time. These. Oh, can I try to get another one of these air divisions out? Communist revolution has begun in the Levant. Wow, okay. Levantine People's Republic. It's not the first time I've seen it, but it is rare. Maybe one day I'll actually play in the Middle East, you know, so I could learn how the hell all that stuff out there works. We're simply not getting enough political power right now. Alright, trip to the Congo. Now that Muller has accepted our request, let's send Solace to the Congo and Central Africa to meet with them, spend a week discussing what to do. We can dangle a lifetime supply of Brazilian lobster for the upper echelon, or a few $100 expense-paid hunting trips in the Brazilian raid forest to sweeten the deal. Our best diplomat will deal with these negotiations. Let's hope and pray he's successful. Uh-oh. And then stood by the sill, calmly waited her in front. This is a great portrait. Another ones I really like in this. It's just it's just the stock market's plummeting. Oh no, it's my first day. Okay, Salah's travels to Central Africa. There's no accurate way to tell the time here. He lost count of the time zone, so he had no idea how late in the day it was. Sure, Walter Salas had timed the hours from Rikasef in the morning, but all he knew was Hitlerstadt was in the middle of nowhere, and it was dark. Flight was worse. There's rumors how aircraft were lost over the monstrosities circling around the aircraft. Headlights appeared in the desert. They were Mercedes-Benzes. They stepped out. Welcome to Hitlerstadt, Air Salas. General Field Marshal Rolf Steiner at your service. So where is this city? They said that we flew over the lake. So, it's here, amongst the islands. Salas eats lobster. The romantic notions of, so here's where we are. This is going to turn into, like, the most dangerous game. The romantic notions of African hunting lodges or grand colonial hotels Salas did not materialize at the Hitlerstadt resort. The Egyptian or South African hotels had a certain old charm for them. Even the newer Hiltons or Yamatos would have at least a modern appearance in their interior, even if the structure looked the same if you looked at them enough. Hitlerstadt was, on the other hand, nothing more than a collection of proras, a cement monstrosity more suited to be a blockhouse guarding the white beach than a place of relaxation and entertainment. The special suite he was staying in was thankfully removed from the main complex, but it looked more designed to mirror Goering's home than an Afro-German design. Amusingly, most of the wait staff were Africans, dressed in the white uniforms of the SS men Walters. Somehow, despite the propaganda, even here the Germans were unable to block the influence of the land. They plundered from inside the dining room. Decorated with various trophies from long-deceased animals was a giant table made from rare wood in the jungle, and far on the other side was Rolf Steiner, wearing his same field uniform with the beret still on his head, nursing a glass of Gaffel Kolsch. The dinner was a surprise, but not a pleasant one. The unveiling of the lobster bisque with lobster tails, asparagus, and potato salad no doubt gave Steiner a source of amusement, but put Salas off. All the time, though the French wine they paired with it was wonderful, he couldn't help but think about where this had come from. No doubt these would be in a Brazilian household sold off by a local fisherman who by now may have had to go hungry because of what these bastards did. Conversation was mostly small talk, with Steiner sharing off pudding tales of his time in the military in his childhood. After polishing off the lemon cheesecake, Steiner finished off his second glass of beer before looking at his adversary. Now we begin, Herr Salas. They're trying to intimidate through food. Just makes me think of that scene in The Aviator where they serve him basically a raw fish. He's meeting with that senator. Howard Hughes, that is. Intolerable mistake. Breaking news out of Guanabara province today. Governor Carlos Lacerda dismissed his Secretary of Security just an hour ago. Anger with the Secretary because of the death of homeless men who washed up on the beach with Rio. They're treating this as homicide. It's not uncommon for murders to go unsolved in Brazil's largest city. Governor Lacerda is focused on improving the murder clearance rate. The faithful servants of Guanabara will ensure justice is brought to our fellow countrymen. Guanabara is for all of our brothers and sisters, poor or rich. There's paperwork being filed, and pending investigation is going on. We need to improve Rio's abysmal murder clearance rate and train both patrol officers and detectives to cut down on violent crime. Lacerda has been praised for efforts to improve plumbing, access to clean water, public housing, but he's more controversial with his decision on public housing and clearing space. Few critics have criticized Lacerda's recent efforts regarding violent crime in the city. Some are skeptical about its success. If you have any tips or information regarding the death of a homeless man, please call Guanabara Police. There is an 8,000 Cruzeiro reward for any information. Those who prey on the weak are the greatest cowards. I was going to lead into something like The Wire. Gotta juke them stats! Got to. Discussion over trade begins. The middle bit of the Atlantic, Steiner said that's everyone's coast. Everyone's ocean. Us, the Japs, the Yankees, everyone has a right to it. The Cape Verde Plain is neutral territory for shipping and fishing, but there remain certain territories by international law that belong to the people of Brazil. They're fish, aren't they? They swim, and that isn't on the continental shelf. They're in the water, they're fair game. We have a right to stop you if you want to keep harvesting the lobster there. You have to abide by our regulations. Let me spell it out for you. How much can we fish there? What's your deal to end this horse shit before it gets any worse? Okay, so we'll give equal access. We lose political power. where we get bad settlement, and it's going to increase the consumer good factories. It's good for Quadros. Or we could say you need to pull out entirely, because this helps with Lot's influence. Either way, okay, so we want to do one of these. But I think we want to say pull out entirely so that we get the political power. And then we'll have to spend most of it right away, I think, just to get Quadros' influence back. So... yeah, we're going to say you got to pull out. They're going to get an event called No Fish for You. Well, that settles it, doesn't it? Early in April. I wonder if we can get to Headley's. Lobsters settled. We've come to an agreement. We can call this lobster conflict over. Now they've been settled, things look easier. What's next? He snapped his finger. A mercenary brought forward a map of South Atlantic with a pin and a ruler. Stylus knew what was next. Time to carve up the sea floor. Oh, okay, so we gotta start counting this out. What's this? Okay, so now Lot's meeting with her daughter, Edna, who's just been elected to the Cámara dos Deputados as a member of the PTB. Lot sometimes joked quietly with his daughter about the fact that she'd chosen a different party from him, but since it was Django's lot, he was completely fine with the situation. Okay, things are going good. She wants to strengthen protections for women in the urban workforce. There's workplace accidents in Sao Paulo and Rio, where men get what they need, but women aren't given a job as much. I want to get hold of Lionel Brizola to help with that, seeing as how that jacked on Rio will likely screech the top of his lungs at the prospect. The conversation continued in less urgent matters. Lot relaxed. She was proud of her daughter already. God willing, she would give her yet more reason to be proud as the years rolled on. Edna has lots of potential, I dare say. Okay, yeah, so now Lot's getting too much influence. We're gonna need to give a buff to Quadros when we get the chance. Invade over naval boundaries. Okay, Brazil has exclusive. The position of the German government is. Oh shoot. Okay, so basically, everything 12 miles off the coast, it seems like we get to keep. That's our buffer zone. Cool. Well, we got that improved tank equipment now. Okay. Oh, nope, not that. Gotta do here. Alright, we're kind of caught up there. 63. We got the helicopters already researched. So what we want to do is, I don't know, after ground attack, let's do operation. No. Better reconnaissance. Better reconnaissance and how's this going? Let's leave more transport. Okay. Art of the possible. The citizens of the Reich must be returned at the next available time. What we're asking for is not immediate transfer, but we'll want this little delay as possible. So we gotta let the fishermen out. The detainees got to leave pretty quick since it wasn't until the loss on their end, but how do we know you're not going to renege the expulsion? How do you know you won't turn around on us because the only reason you were at the table in the first place? Without your citizens, we lose our leverage. We have our promise. We won't go back on a verbal agreement, said Steiner, which Salas honestly didn't believe a word of. So we're going to say we release the prisoners when we want. So this will help worsen Lot and Quadros' relationship, but Lot is still getting stronger. But now we're going to get 80 political power out of it. So yeah, Lot though, too much influence, too much. We got to promote Brazilian independence. There's 323, some we could pay for. We need to keep Germania out of this, get him to Brazzaville in only a few hours. Son of a bitch, we just avoided a war, a mercenary and a businessman. Is that a helicopter? Leibgott in Himmel, what? Why now? What the fuck do you think it means when a helicopter lands outside your house in this commissariat? Uh-oh. I think we might be having some problems. Little complications. Hold on. Diplomatic nicety. Reichskommissar Muller. This is an unexpected surprise. This is the Brazilian representative, Walter Morena Salles. Nice to meet you, Walter. As he took out the clip in his G1 rifle and looked into it. Hey, do we have a deal yet? Muller wasn't the typical Reichskommissar in the slightest, Salles realized. She had eschewed the typical NSDAP uniform cachet and Turboven had worn when he met them, and they also never chambered an automatic rifle after asking a question at him. Well, yes, Herr Reichskommissar, there has splendid. Diplomacy wins again. He stood up from the helicopter and walked towards Salles, still holding his gun in the air with one hand. Herr Salles, I hope you... Wait. I want to let you know I regret this terrible incident, and I've had little part in it, acting only on orders from Germania. I'm pleased my lieutenant has smoothed over any difficulties between Germany and Brazil, and I wish to show your nation that I hold no ill will over the incident with the diplomatic visit. This was incredibly unexpected. What? I always wanted to go to Brazil. All that wild jungle, that Jesus statue, Carmen Miranda, never got a chance. You think we can make it happen, Walter? The Americans will be angry. Rolf, were you drinking tonight? Saul scuffed it. So he wants to go visit Brazil. That does seem like it would create a bit of an incident. Relationship is currently collapsed. Bon voyage, Herr Salles. So they're going down a convoy. They step out of the car, followed by Steiner. Finally, when it was technically home soil after hours of debate, Salles got in a seat and relax. The important thing was they stopped the lobster war. They may judge him a Metternich or a Chamberlain, but he had something that would avoid war once and for all. He wasn't so sure of the deal. He was a bit drunk towards the end of it. He was able to avoid yet another conflict in Africa. Peace in our time. So we get 40 political power. National spirit, great Brazil's Central Africa settlement. That's going to lower our consumer good factories. And then we get 80, and then we get 100. So we basically just got a whole lot of political power. We got to spend some of it right now promoting Brazilian independence. Let's also reassure the top brass. We can get our loyalty up with the local armed forces. Okay. So the brief on... I need to get this here. Hold on. The brief on Lot's desk painted a bleak picture for the dock workers. Each man received as monthly payment a stack of Cruzeiro banknotes, thinner than their abraded boot soles. You know, I really wish that I could find the research paper I once did. It was a group project, but I contributed. I'm not one of those people who gets carried. But I wish I could find the paper I once did on like the history of Brazilian currency, particularly in the second half of the 20th century. And there's a period there where they were basically just doing a new one every year. It's a new currency. Reset and then inflation. No, okay, reset it again. Each man received his, every day at work was punctuated by a disabling accident. The supervisor was rarely there to see it. It's depressing, isn't it, Mr. President? I'd strike too. I'd go down there if I could as well, but then the only difference between me and them would be that I'd want to be there. The workers have been putting it up with it for years. They can't afford to miss the pay, so we should take the time to find out what pushed them too far and fixed it. The owners don't want police because they think they'd panic the shareholders. We have no reason to get involved. Mr. President, if the negotiations go poorly, the fallout will rest on you. This is a squabble between employees and employers. It's not our problem unless we make it our problem. Quadros glided across to the office to loom over Denny's, who fit neatly within his shadow. Defense, then. That's your field. How will we make ships if there's no one there to build them? That sounds like our business. You should be on my side, Denny's. You might have a stake in this farce. That's enough from both of you, Lot said. I'll decide shortly. For now, you're dismissed. Left the president at his desk, looking out over the calm waters of Lago Paranoa. Soldiers fight uncertain battles all the time, but never by choice. It's not my chat. Dang it, I don't know what's going to do what. So wait, if the workers suffer, industry suffers, Brazil suffers, so that's going to probably boost Quadros' influence, which is down right now. So we'll do that. Workers suffer, industry suffers, Brazil suffers. An army man fights his country's battles. Okay. Oh yeah, we have some of these things available here. So do we want to jack up this more? Oh, apparently we can't. For the Trans-Amazon Highway. Fine, let's go to the regular, edicts or whatever. The elections over here. Subsidized mech growth. Through migration to cities, we can get more building slots, which is pretty cool, actually. Let's do the mechanize. I just like doing it. Trip to the Congo is finally done. The Germans have been pacified. This showed the Germans and the whole world that Brazil is not one to be cowed. Oh, we're not getting the budget boosts anymore. Fun. Oh yeah, let's increase the construction budget some more. Negotiating with the dock workers. Dock workers chew tobacco. They talked amongst themselves. I want to thank the president for coming. Given the opposition he must experience before he took the journey here. Alright. So basically they're asking for 10% raise in pensions, 6% raise in the minimum wage, and then the strike will stop by tomorrow. Numbers threaten government coffers, but they might be as costly as the fear of the oligarchs. Locke could win this game by not playing. Respect. Their strike was not selfish or risk-free. He could send them all home to happy families if he opened his wallet. You choke me on your cheap cigars for this. So it basically sounds like our options here is like we could just pay them what they want now, just to wrap it up, just to be done with it. But it sounds like we'd be paying the different money out of the government's pocket instead of like the actual employers forking up the money. I kind of want this problem to just go away, but we're just gonna pay it. Plus there's no tooltip, so I don't know what does what. Let's just pay it off. Like, things are kind of in the middle here anyway, but again, I kind of want to get it more in the middle. The strike leader nearly jumped halfway along the table to seal their agreement. They shook hands and they opened the door, waiting a prelude to an argument. Mr. President, what persuaded you to open our treasury to those workers? Good afternoon, Neves. I'm sure it was the quickest way to resolve the dispute and get them working away. And an excellent way to undermine investor confidence and induce economic confusion. Those assurances weren't from Denny's, I'm certain of that. So the decision's been made. I made no mention of Quadros. You realize he may be making these decisions too. Those dock workers didn't see you negotiating with them. They saw Quadros pushing you into a chair. Be careful, Mr. President, and have a good day. So our relationship got worse, but Quadros' influence goes up. That's actually perfect. That's awesome. That's like the best case scenario. Puts us more to the middle, and things get worse, although it's already completely collapsed. So that's the end of the strike. The lines bisecting the Amazon jungle are the arteries of future Brazilian land development. 5,000 kilometers of paved highways would galvanize investment and accelerate the exchange of the nation's goods. Thousands of settlements would be freed from their internment by the jungle's acieros and see visitors arrive by road for the first time in their history. Lot smiled. He skimmed a report on truant laborers holding up progress in Kiara and placed it at the bottom of a thick pile of papers. No, he'd get back to that later. From nowhere, this road shall make somewhere. Try something else here. Yeah, something is going on with the music. This is like, yeah, this is Erica here. Hardliners' influence grows, constitutionalist influence grows. Okay, next one. Rooms have been pacified. Great. Finally, the bountiful harvest, so we can once and for all be rid of the lobster war effects. They exist anymore there. Real work begins, drifting in and out of consciousness. He's in the night section crew of the highway, clearing debris, paving where the budget allowed. Jolt woke him up. Let's see here. Bad news, son. They just took one of our dozers, meaning everyone gets to start work 2 hours earlier. I've already heard every fucking camp bitch about it, so you do yourself a favor, get ready, and shut it. When he stomped off down the line, shaking away at the other members of the night crew, Lee sighed and started pulling on his gear. It wasn't right to make an anchor watchman work while the sun was still up. Not right at all. But I even get paid overtime, so the yearly construction slows by 1%. Calling Lot's bluff. Okay. Oh, big event here. Sir, Vice President Quadros just sent in his resignation, her resignation. Lot stared at her secretary hanging in the doorway and slowly collapsed onto her desk. Thank you, Maria. Take the day off. She nodded and closed the door behind her. After a moment, Lot pulled her head upright, stood, and walked to her cabinet. This was hardly a surprise, really. Quadros had threatened Lot with her resignation for a while now, citing the president's bastardry, the phrase he actually used in front of the entire staff. Who knows? If Lot capitalized on this fast enough, it might even play out in her favor. If the next vice president was even slightly more cooperative than Quadros, or could even speak Portuguese legibly, imagine the things she could do. Lot pulled open the bottommost drawer, revealing her favorite cigar box. It was a brand she could only get in Italy, but she liked to save them for particularly interesting situations. As he cracked the window, he realized the situation might be more interesting than she first assumed. A crowd was gathering outside, waving signs and chanting something. Lot saw what or who they were cheering for before she could make out the words. Every other sign featured a stylized portrait of Yanio Quadros, smiling her stupid little grin. Lot spied Marie inching around the crowd on her way out, and resolved to pay the poor woman more. Maria! She darted her head around and stared up at him incredulously. Get back inside! I need you to connect me to Quadros. The crowd cheered at the sound of their broom messiah's name, and Lot slammed the window closed again. She sighed, closed back up the cigar drawer, sat back in her seat, and stared at the phone. Damn the man, but the people loved her, the woman. Lot hated begging, but she hated angry mobs more. This will not be good for our nation's stability. So Quadros is gone, we lose 10% stability. It's pretty bad when we're not even at 30% to begin with. So we have no head of government right now. Nothing. So I guess then, that seems like a pretty good place to stop it. So I guess once the loft, even though it's a little early, ended on a cliffhanger. So I guess we'll just do this Bountiful Harvest first here. Okay, and then set up the next one. We could raise some taxes, but I'm not quite sure I want to, so I don't know, because, yeah, the medium taxation, the income rate is cool and all, but there's so many other negative things that come with that, so I'm not so sure. Anyway, I'm Concrete History Games. Thank you very much for joining me. Sorry it was a bit of a shorter episode today, but you'll feel it's a good spot to end it on. Quadros has resigned. What will Brazil do next? Stay tuned.